So in this data tutorial, we're going to talk about doing a pie chart, and we are going to do pie charts for observation level data and for summary data. I pulled up a data set that we've looked at before. This is a lung capacity data set. I'm just going to list the first 10 observations of this data set. I'm going to do a pie chart for this variable. We're going to do pie charts for categorical variables, and in this case I'm going to do it for the Caesarean section variable. We recall that this data set has 725 observations. I see that over here in the properties window. And I want to know the distribution of Caesarean sections. As with doing many of these graphs, I'm not going to want to type the commands into the window because they can be so complicated. I'm going to want to do these with the drop-down menus and let it create the commands for me. I'm going to go up here to Graphics, Pie Chart, and graph by categories, and select in the drop-down menu what I want to graph, and it's Caesarean. And even if I do the most simple thing, it gets me started in an okay graph, and I could go to Graphics Editor. This little button says Start the Graphics Editor. I could edit from here to make it into a reasonable graph. I could add the titles, I could add the counts in each of these pie pieces, I could add where the data came from, I could add it in, make it into a pretty reasonable graph. Say here's my title, etc. Probably the easiest way is when you get to this box is to select the tabs and make edits here to make it into a pretty reasonable graph, and then edit from there. So one of the things you're going to want to do is definitely these titles, and so title would be Caesarean. Oh my goodness, spelling this. So I type in my descriptive title. Legend looks fine. And let's see how this looks. One thing I want to do is to put in some labeling on those slices, either the percentage or maybe the counts on the slices, so that we'll know what they say. It depends on the context of the problem. Maybe the counts here, and not a bad graph to begin with. So now I would want to save this graph, and then I could come back and edit it. So I'll save that, and it would be saved as a graph. So I call it Caesarean pie chart from lung capacity data. And you'll see it's a .gfp. Maybe not the perfect graph, might want to change the colors, etc. Not a bad way to start for a pie chart from observation level data. If I want to make minor tweaks from here, I can always open it up. It's been saved. I can open it up anytime, open up the save graph, and I can go into the editor, that little, see, it'll pop up. I can go into that graphics editor, and I can change little things, like maybe I want to make these bigger, make that that text size a little bigger, etc. Or change the colors, etc. Again, not too bad to begin with. So suppose we want to do a pie chart for summary data. I've pulled up this summary data that we did in the lectures, and you can see it's summary data. And I did a pie chart in the lectures. Here's what the graph looked like in the lectures. So how did I get that? Well, the code is in the lecture slides, but it's easiest to just do the drop-down menus and then just tweak from there. Let's go to pie chart. I'm going to graph by categories. The category variable is Nativity, and I'm going to do the variable count. So this is a little different because it's the summary data, and I want to come over here and make slight tweaks because it's going to have my old titles, etc. So let's type in some new titles. How are we going to do the legends? Maybe we'll do percents here. You might have to change the format so that it displays properly. Let's see how this goes. So some things that we would want to change here would be maybe make this all in one line. This is too many decimals, obviously. We can do that either by going back to those pop-up menus, or we can click on here and we go to the data editor. And say edit it. And round in the context of the problem. Or you can go back to this box where you go back to the slice properties and where it has the format of how you're going to label those slices. Here you can tell how many digits you want and the numbers of digits to the right of the decimals, etc., and make that how you want it. So this concludes how to do a pie chart for observation level data and for some